This is for the review response from that group of guys. I think it's the stuff they don't want you to know or whatever about Waco, Texas, about the compound with David Koresh. Now you see, David Koresh was the psycho. I mean, he thought it was Jesus Christ. I agree with that. But the great thing about America is that you're allowed to have your own beliefs as long as you don't infringe anybody else's rights. Now, these guys who made this video, they don't want you to know, are completely off the facts. And I don't know where they got their info, if they got from official government reports on the government killing people. I don't think the government would be honest about that, really, right? I mean, the investigation was completely a lie. Some facts for you here, okay? And there's a whole video on this. So it's at Waco, the sea, I forget what it is, but it's there's all incontrovertible facts from law enforcement who disagree with what happened and actual footage of what happened, including a very important piece of footage I'll talk about from a plane above. However, let's start with who shot first. Well, actually, let's start with why they raided the compound. They raided the compound because theoretically they were saying they were turning the weapons into fully automatic weapons and weren't paying a fee. There's nobody there at the felony that would have stopped them from being able to obtain the weapon in Texas, at least, because Texas you can do this. California would never let you do it because the state DOJ wouldn't sign off on it. But the federal government will always sign off on it if you have a felony, and the state and Texas will sign off on it. You have to have both. Then you have to have, the other thing I'm talking about is applying to the DOJ for a federal automatic weapons permit. They could change the weapons they had to fully automatic ones. It costs $200 for the permit. That's it. And there's 48 weapons they're saying that didn't do it. It's $900 in fees. All those people were killed over. Those people were killed over less than $10,000 and not paid fees. The whole thing about them having a shootout with members before the thing was raided, well, that's a lie. They shot at the people on the compound. Secondly, who shot first? Okay, now that's the first shots were the double pair of front doors. Okay, the pair of double doors, metal doors in the front of the compound where the first shots took place. Now this is important because a metal door, if the shots were through the metal door, and the metal outside the building was metal skinned, like a corrugated, I think, as I recall. Now, the point about the thing about this corrugation would die in the fire. You get warped, it's too thin, it would destroy itself, and under intense heat. However, metal doors will not. They're fireproof. They're rated to be so. If you ever built a house, I'm a contractor, you have to have a fire-rated door between your garage and your house and on your front door. You have to have an entry door, basically, a fire-rated entry door. So, a metal fire-rated entry door would have survived fire. And if the first shots were through the front door, which the report even says they were from the government, guess what? That would show the direction of rounds, maybe. I mean, something like that might show which way the shots were going through, I mean, those metal doors, surprisingly, were not found at all after the fire in the investigation. The thing that could possibly sway somebody one way or another, as far as evidentiary goes, are missing. That's awesome, right? Okay, secondly, let's also go during the siege. A guy tried to walk off the property, unarmed and not threatening any law enforcement at all. A sniper on the top of their like a little silo mill tower thing over here that the Branch Davidians had. There's an FTF sniper up there. Shot the guy and killed him. Okay? Cold blood. Secondly, let's go to the most damning part of this. Overhead during the raid was a plane with a FLIR. I was telling you it's important. A FLIR camera. FLIR is forward-looking infrared imaging. Forward-looking infrared. FLIR. F-L-I-R. Now, FLIR images show that they were using APCs. Yes, they were using APCs against American citizens. What's DHS buying a bunch of right now? Go, Cat, go. You want to get it from me? Cat doesn't want to go from me now. Move too quick. But if the DHS right now is buying APCs to use against American citizens, and you don't think they'll use them? They've done it already in Waco, Texas. They were firing CS gas canisters, though, through these APC launchers into the compound through holes. They had a big boom and were ramming through the walls to put the rounds in. Ramming booms through a wall of a building with women and children inside of it. Not sinister at all. Either way, what they don't tell you is that the CS gas they're firing in there, these canisters, when it's in those canisters, is highly flammable. And they were later then, in FLIR images, shown firing incendiary rounds into the building. So they're firing incendiary rounds into a building with women and children full of CS gas that's flammable, and CS gas that, when burned, lets off like further than gases. I don't know what's the sign. I mean, it's the gas that they use in the same gas they use in the gas chamber to execute murderers. That is the byproduct of burning CS gas. And they let it in and shot it into a building full of women and kids. You know what that stuff, the reason they strap somebody down in the chair in the gas chamber is so that the people watching don't see what the gas does to the body. It makes the muscles contract violently. So violently, as a matter of fact, if your spine muscles happens to contract before your stomach does, I mean, what it can do is it can make the person's back arch completely arch so hard, and the muscles contract so hard when they're arching their back like that, they'll literally put their head between their freaking ankles, just about between their legs, backwards, like arching up. They should bend forward this way. They bend back this way. So they're arching backwards like this. Heads up here, feet down here. This is the front. This is the back. And they arch like this, and their head will go between their legs. Now, another one thing is, there's a pantry in the kitchen area. There's a fully concrete walled pantry. Women and children during the siege, when they got violent, real gnarly at the end of the APCs, were hiding inside that 4 concrete wall pantry to protect themselves. They purposely penetrated the building with the boom there, shot CS gas inside the concrete walled, pantry, and then shot an incendiary round in it. They shot an incendiary round in a concrete walled fucking pantry full of women and children. The ATF are murderers, and they are infringing on our rights every day to own firearms. Secondly, Ruby Ridge with Randy Weaver, they shot his son cold-blooded in the back. They shot his wife while she was holding not a gun, but her infant child. One of the two snipers that did those 2 events, one of them later went on and killed himself. Because they know they were wrong. I think that the sniper at Waco may have done that too, actually, believe it or not. I think, if I recall correctly, that is also true. So, he's talking about Ruby Ridge with Randy Weaver. Randy Weaver, by the way, was entrapped by the government into making a shotgun with 2 short barrel. You can own one if you get a federal permit, and these federal agents came with a permit. The permit, however, was on the real paper, which you could not obtain from anywhere unless the government gave it to you or you're a government agent. But they just printed it out, and so there's no actually approval behind it. But they gave him a legitimate document, basically, that they just didn't run through a judge. Because they didn't have to, because they're trying to entrap him. He saw a paper that he knows to be the correct piece of paper with the watermark, whatever on it, that's certified, that shows you it's not been forged, and he makes it for them. That's despicable. And then he shoot his son and his wife, holding their child. And the ATF, and Branch Davidian compound, Waco, yeah, David Crush was this weirdo fucking guy with Jesus Christ, he's not. And there's all these child abuse allegations are complete utter cockamamie bullshit. There's the survivors saying that he actually did that. No, there's a video of the survivors that survived it saying I don't know if I believe what he said anymore, but you know what though, that never happened there. There's video of it. And if they have video saying otherwise, they should put it in the tape. They should put it in the tape. Contradict me with evidence and prove it. With them saying it. Because there's other people saying you're full of shit. So, for stuff they don't want you to know, I got what they don't want you to know. And you're telling everybody what they want you to know. You're telling them the senator's investigation found that all this and that somehow you're being the government was justified in what they did. You're government apologists in this issue. You guys got some real interesting videos. But right now, you're full of crap. And you know what? And what they don't want you to know is what I'm saying. And what they do want you to think is what you're promoting. So guess what? You guys are on the wrong side of shit in this one. So, peace, liars.